All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Guy Jeans, and today I'm answering 10 more questions that you guys have asked, so stay tuned. All right, question number 10. What's the difference between spin fishing and fly fishing, and what catches more fish on the Kern? So let's answer the first part of that question. What's the difference between spin fishing and fly fishing? Well, with spin fishing, you have a spinning reel, a spinning rod, and you just have monofilament on there. And most of the time you're using your lure as weight, or you're using split shot to get your lures out there. And with fly fishing, you know that colored line that you guys see people flying back and forth out there? Well, that's usually the weight to get those weightless flies out there. So that's the difference, you know, using a spinning rod where you're spinning and bringing the line in, whereas in fly fishing, most of the time you're pulling the line in with your finger, not doing too much reeling unless you're doing saltwater fly fishing. That's the basic difference. Spin fishing, you come back and you throw it out there and it lands in the water and then you reel it back in or let it sit there. With fly fishing, you're casting and the weight of that line is bending the rod or loading the rod to get your weightless flies out there. Okay, so the second part of that question, what catches more fish on the Kern? Well, I would say if you're a really good fly angler, you're going to catch a lot of fish. If you're a really good spin fisherman, spin angler, you're going to catch a lot of fish as well. So it just depends on, you know, what you do and what technique you use. There's all kinds of different types of techniques within those. With spin fishing, there's bait fishing and there's lure fishing. With fly fishing, there's streamer fishing, there's nymph fishing, and there's dry fly fishing. There's European style of nymphing. There's all kinds of different genres that go in those different types of fishing. So if you're really good at either or, you're going to catch a lot of fish on the Kern. All right, number 9. I heard there are a lot of species of trout in the Kern drainage. What are they? Well, the Kern is very unique in that we have 3 of California's 10 heritage native trout in our area. We have the Kern River rainbow, which is in the North Fork of the Kern. We have the Golden Trout, which is in the South Fork of the Kern drainage and tributaries. And then we have the Little Kern Golden Trout, which is in the Little Kern River and its tributaries. And so we have 3 native trout here. We also have brown trout, which were introduced into our area in the Southern Sierra in the 1970s. So we do have brown trout in the North Fork and we do have brown trout in the South Fork of the Kern. We also have golden rainbow hybrids. So a gold trout and a rainbow trout spawned together and they formed a golden trout rainbow hybrid. And we have those in the streams as well. So for example, if you have a native fish like a golden trout and somebody puts a rainbow trout that isn't native to that particular stream, they're going to spawn together because they both spawn in the spring. And so their offspring are going to be little hybrids. And so we have those in the streams all over the Southern Sierra. We also have brook trout in the Southern Sierra. A lot of people don't know that, but we do in some of the high alpine lakes, like Coyote Lakes, we have those. And we also have them in a couple of streams in the Southern Sierra as well. All right, number 8. Guy, how hard is it to access the Golden Trout Wilderness? Well, the Golden Trout Wilderness from my fly shop, the Kern River Fly Shop, the trailhead is about an hour and a half away. And so it's not too hard to access. And then it's about maybe an hour hike to get to the Golden Trout Wilderness. And there's other access points all over the place, and it's really not that hard to get to. It's just you have to hike a little bit to get into the Golden Trout Wilderness, whether you're coming from the Southern Sierra, the Western Sierra, or the Eastern Sierra. You're going to have to do a little bit of hiking to access it, but not that hard. All right, question number 7. Guy, where should we stay and eat in Kernville? I love that question. So we have a whole bunch of campgrounds that you can stay at up the North Fork of the Kern. There's all kinds of hotels. You can go to Google and Google hotels in Kernville. There's Airbnbs in Kernville. There's all kinds of cool places to stay on the river. And all over. There's all kinds of places that you can camp for free as well. So we have those up and down the North Fork of the Kern River, as well as the Lower Kern. Where to eat? Well, right next door to my fly shop is McNally's Hamburgers, which are world-class hamburgers. People love to eat there. There's also the Kern River Brewing Company, which has award-winning beer, which is amazing. The food is really good as well. Right next door to them is El Rio Mexican food, so that's really good too if you like Mexican food. There's all kinds of restaurants that you can eat at. There's a great coffee shop in town called the Big Blue Bear, and they have really good coffee as well as other things to eat there as well, and the chef is really good. Across the street from them is a new bakery, and across the street from the bakery, across the little highway there, is Cheryl's Diner, which has been around forever. People like to eat breakfast there, so those are great places to eat in the Kernville area. Okay, number 6. Guy, when you talk about the Lower Kern, can you please explain the fishing between the canyon section below Lake Isabella and the section outside the canyon? Sure. So this is out to Mr. Woodward, by the way. So from Kernville down to the mouth of the canyon down towards Bakersfield is a canyon section, and there's a road that goes along there. There's a highway, of course, which is the 178, but there's the old highway that goes all the way down, and you can access the river and fish all that down there. There's trout, there's smallmouth, there's meanmouth, and there's largemouth bass in there, as well as Sacramento pike minnows, suckers, and catfish. A variety of species that you can catch in that section. We don't really float that section. There's some sections that I float in there, but I don't recommend somebody who's not experienced floating in there. But you can float it in certain sections. Now the section outside the canyon, when you start to get into Bakersfield, that's a much easier area to float, class 1 or 2. In that section, again, I don't recommend somebody floating that without experience as well. But it is a great fishery, and you can fish smallmouth, meanmouth, largemouth, Sacramento pike minnows, crappie, suckers, all that kind of stuff is all down in that section as well. So there's a variety of sections that you can fish on the Lower Kern, and a variety of techniques that you can use to fish down there. Okay, number 5. My son and I just recently got into fishing and have spinner rods. Any tips on using spinner rods on the Kern River? 100%. So what a lot of people do when they come into my fly shop and they're spin fishermen, we turn them on to using a fly with their spin rods. And what you do is you buy a bobber. We have these bobbers, and you can buy a bobber and then put that on your monofilament, and that is actually kind of a weighted kind of a bobber. It's kind of gives it a little bit of weight. And then right below your bobber, you can put your fly, your nymph, one that's going to be subsurface that imitates some of the aquatic insects that we have in the Kern. And you cast that upstream, and then you let it float down. And it's really an effective way to fish the Kern with your spinning rod. A lot of people will also put on Kern candies instead of salmon eggs because it's an attractor type fly. It's pink. It looks like an egg style pattern. And people will put those underneath their bobbers and then cast those up and float those down and catch hatchery fish all day long with that. It's a great little technique. So yeah, you can use flies with your spinning rod. Absolutely. Number 4. Guy, how do I become a fly fishing guide, and what does it take to become a fly fishing guide? Great question. Fish every day. If you're going to be guiding on a river or a stream or a lake and you want to become a fishing guide, you should fish it every single day, year round. Get it completely wired, understand all the different hatches that are going on, all the different bugs, really study the entomology of the river. And then another thing that I really recommend is teach. Teach as much as possible. Teach fly fishing. Teach everything you can about fly fishing to people. And the more you teach, the better you get at it. The other thing that I really recommend is get your Fly Fishers International Casting Certification as an instructor. And that's just going to benefit you. If you want to guide anywhere in the world, basically. If you have your casting certification, you could probably get a job as a guide anywhere, definitely in the United States. It just shows that you're qualified and that you understand the ins and outs of casting, because the casting is going to be a really important thing to teach your clients when you are guiding. Number 3. Guy, I love this one. Whatever happened to the Kern River Fly Fishing Forum? So those of you that don't know, probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe, I don't know, maybe less than that, I don't know, but I had a fishing forum, a fly fishing forum called the Kern River Fly Fishing Forum, and it was a really neat place you could go and learn about fly fishing and talk to other people and try to get tips and places where to go and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, we had some bad apples on that forum, and people were kind of negative towards other people, and I just don't like that. I don't like people being negative towards other people who are just learning how to fly fish. So it became a headache for me and some of the moderators on there to, like, what do they call that? Police the forum, and it just took too much time. There was a lot of information on there, and a lot of people were really bummed that it shut down, but it is what it is, and now we are doing other things. So that's what happened to it. I shut it down, and it's gone now, but it was pretty fun while it lasted until we got those bad apples. Number 2, what is your experience with brown trout on the Kern River? I have heard from someone that there are certain spots where brown trout are. Well, my experience with brown trout is that they are through the whole North Fork of the Kern. So I've caught them all the way down by the lake, all the way through Kernville, all the way up into Sequoia National Park. And so that's about 70 miles of water. So they're all through the whole system. They've gotten through the whole area there. They were introduced into the Kern in the 70s, and they've maintained a population since then. They're not native. Some people think that they're native. They aren't native. They were stocked in there. They are wild, though. As far as certain spots for the brown trout, they're all over the place. So they're all over not only the North Fork of the Kern, but they're also in the South Fork of the Kern through the whole drainage. And they actually have been trying to get rid of all the brown trout in the South Fork of the Kern just because brown trout love to eat golden trout. I've seen brown trout eat golden trout in the South Fork of the Kern many times, just sitting on the bank. So there you have it. There's your answer for brown trout. Okay, last question for today. Guy, what size fly rod length is best for fishing the Kern River? So, great question. I think it would just depend on which area you're fishing. If you're going to be fishing, let's say, the South Fork of the Kern, a smaller rod, a 7.5 foot, 2 or 3 weight is pretty ideal. Throwing dry flies in on the South Fork of the Kern, awesome, super fun. If you're fishing the North Fork, a normal rod to use on the North Fork is a 9-foot rod. There are people using rods that are 10 feet for nymphing, doing European style nymphing. Some of them are even 11 feet. And then there are some people using longer rods than that, like Tenkara rods, which some of them are 13 feet long. So there are different lengths that people like to use. I always use the analogy of surfing because I come from the surfing world, and some people like to use short boards, some people like to use middle of the road boards, and some people like to use long boards. And it just depends on what your preference is. All right, you guys, there you have it. Another 10 questions answered on the Kern River area. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to leave your comments down below. Ask questions. Ask questions, you guys, and I'll put them on the next one. I'll answer them for you. I love doing these. These are a lot of fun. Also, if you guys haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's growing. I've got something special coming up. I'm going to be giving away a bunch of stuff, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time here on the Kern River Fly Shop YouTube channel.